Yo, what's up, guys? Insane Game Freak here. There was a request I got like late last year about anime and normal people's view on it and the fans of it that I've been meaning to do because the dude who sent me it also was thanking me in his message about how I got him back into watching anime, which is always awesome to hear because with my favorite medium, I'm able to push it to the point where people start jumping back into it again. I feel like I've done my job correctly, and I told him I would do the video because I thought the topic was interesting in itself. So the basic idea is, why is it that people view people who watch anime as weirdos or loners or creepy dudes? Not everybody who watches anime is a weirdo. The thing is that that's just because anime has a negative stereotype, period. Even in Japan, it's more accepted because it's the standard cartoon for Japan. Versus in the States, pretty much everywhere else, where it's viewed as like a secondary source of entertainment, like pretty much like foreign films, like people who watch British TV shows over American TV shows. That British TV shows in the States are considered a secondary source of entertainment. They're not considered the main source, so it's never considered the norm to watch anime. So when people say, "Oh, you're weirdos and losers," well, that's also because anime still has a negative context in the States. And the reason for that is because when it comes to representation of anything, people only remember two things. For the most part, only remembers the most memorable things about anime or about any medium in general. When someone does something in the public eye, usually it's the negative part of it that gets pushed the most. And where anime's two extremes that most people would know about. It's the super kiddie shit like Yu-Gi-Oh! Even though Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't kiddie, it was portrayed to be kiddie. Yu-Gi-Oh! Digimon, Pokemon, Beyblade, that type of shit, Monster Rancher. And then you had the super adult shit, which for most people would just be hentai. Those are the two extremes, either porn or really kiddie shit. So why do people think it's weird? Why do people think people who watch it is weird? Well, because no matter which group you go with, if you're in your early 20s and you still watch anime, and considering the only two extremes most people know of is either the really kiddie shit or the porn, then guess what? You're either a 20-year-old watching a lot of kiddie cartoons or you're a 20-year-old watching Japanese animated porn. Considering how many weird fetishes there are, I find it hilarious that for some reason hentai is put on a higher scale than any of that shit. And granted, it's because anime is one of those, it's a cartoon, so it has the ability to go even wilder and crazier than anything in real life could possibly do. At the same, also, and that's the other thing about it, one of the most well-known anime porn is the tentacle shit. And so you have tentacle, hentai shit is the forefront of anime, and Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Digimon, and Dragon Ball Z. Well, no matter which one you go with, they both look bad for a 20-year-old to be reading or watching. So, and look, there might be anime fans who play sports and who are jocks and do other things in life that would be considered more normal. But the reason why you're looked at as a weirdo is because in America specifically, and it's kind of that way in other countries too. For some reason, we have a more black and white view when it comes to our entertainment medium. Animation is almost strictly known as children-related content, and live action is almost strictly known as adult-oriented content. We, for some reason, and it's particularly because even a lot of our cartoons don't do this shit anymore, there is no distinction between, for us, it seems like for a lot of people nowadays, there is no fucking distinction between one or the other crossing both lines, having a childish live action show or a adult cartoon. That does not apparently exist in a lot of people's minds. In a lot of people's minds, people will prejudge something based on preconceived notions. And the preconceived notions for anime, as I've said a few times already, is porn and children's shows. So when you that's the simple reason why people think you're weird. If you watch anime, you tell them to watch anime because that's all they fucking believe in. And see, unfortunately, that's just a problem with society in general. We base when we know very little about something, we take that as a baseline and run with it. Unfortunately, human beings, and for some reason, especially in America, we have not realized that is the worst way to approach individuals nowadays. to stereotype them into the negative, of the most negative thing of their stereotype. That's for anything when it comes to race, gender, taste in music, movies, TV shows, whatever the fuck. People, you never take the most negative thing and apply it to them, because all you'll do is perpetuate the same type of mental bullshit ideas that have been going on since the stereotype was even pushed in the first fucking place. So what we end up having is, hi, I like Japanese cartoons. Oh, you're a freak, you like hentai. And what makes it worse is you have big YouTubers. Even when you look at the people who even mention anime on like YouTube now. What is PewDiePie's joke when it comes to anime? Please notice me, senpai. Are you fucking kidding me? And it makes me mad because it's obviously supposed to be funny, but for someone who's heard that joke and heard it run into the ground, it pisses you off. And then you also start taking out your anger on fellow anime fans who do that kawaii desu bullshit. Now, kawaii desu as a phrase is whatever, but you had a lot of fucking people who became overly obsessed with Japan, aka weeaboos, and fucking start saying that all the time. So people who didn't know shit about anime use it as a joking term to make fun of anime fans. So now, and that happens a lot with female anime fans than anything. Female anime fans get the fucking kawaii desu bullshit. Guys don't really get that. So now we have Please Notice Me Senpai, kawaii desu, and gibberish. And see, for people who aren't into that shit like that, it's not a big deal. And that's what people gotta understand. Everybody has their own thing. That's why people get mad when you act like you know what the fuck you're talking about. You try to make fun of it, and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That's why I don't make overly exaggerated jokes about like sports teams and shit, because I don't know jack shit about sports teams. And for some reason, people feel like it's better to make fun of it and use the really bullshit, basic ass stereotypes to try to relate to anime fans, instead of just being like, I don't know. I don't really get it. I've heard things, but I want to hear. People don't take the time nowadays to try to open their minds for this shit. So they just go with the basic stereotypes. And I love how we have popular YouTubers like PewDiePie and Markiplier and even the Game Grumps, who for all intents and purposes try to, maybe not so much the Game Grumps, but you have Markiplier and PewDiePie who like to push that fucking overly positive message, but then goes out of their way to antagonize like anime fans. PewDiePie does it a lot, and it just kind of pisses me off. It pisses me off as an anime fan because I know all you're doing is perpetuating the same fucking ideas that people had when they go and bully kids in school, and you'd be like, oh, I'm against that. But you're not helping my fucking mocking the fandom. That doesn't help. So it's like, why do people view you as a weirdo? Because people's notions of anime is still the same as it was almost in the fucking 90s. You have more people nowadays who are into the shit. And even people, I have a friend who still likes Pokemon, like me, who fucking is so insecure about saying that shit that he won't really talk about it openly around anybody else. He'll talk around it with me because he knows me and him. Like, he was talking about how he watched Attack on Titan on Netflix and how he watched the Pokemon movies that were showing, because, you know, Cartoon Network still streams those. And even Dragon Ball Z Battle of the Gods, but he won't talk to his other friends about it. He won't even get a fucking 3DS to play the fucking games because he knows how people view that shit. And that, actually, I would argue that's the same problem Nintendo has currently. People have a perception, and the only way that perception is broken is when people stop being fucking ignorant assholes about things and just shut the fuck up. See, you don't even have to fucking start talking positively about anime. If people would just shut the fuck up and stop pushing that same tired-ass statement, it wouldn't even be an issue. But that's not what happens. That's not what happens. People don't just shut the fuck up about the subject. They just keep fucking talking about it and mocking it. And when you don't know shit about the shit you're talking about, and you have a big ass following, all you serve to do is to piss off the fandom. I mean, I remember a video that a while back that was actually, there's two videos College Humor has done that have like innately annoyed me, because unfortunately, even though it might be funny from the perspective of someone who may watch anime, from everyone else, it just perpetuates the same stupid ideas. The two videos I'm referring to is If You Were Dating an Anime Guy, which is pretty much where they do like a live action of this dude dating this girl and have the guy have pretty much like Speed Racer type parody. It's like a Speed Racer parody, but calling it an anime parody, which doesn't really make any fucking sense. And then you have the what is it, the fucking Power Rangers spoof, but with furries. So like they're Power Rangers who can turn into like have fursonas, and they turn into like these overly sexualized and creepy looking furry anthro characters. And I'm like, look, that's in anime. I get it, but it's not anime. And it like, and I understand it's a parody, but parodies, that's the problem with parodies. That's the problem actually with comedy in general nowadays. We are pushing negative stereotypes, and yet the people who push them in their fucking videos don't do anything to fix the shit. And then they're like, well, why are people racist? And why are people so hateful towards one another? Because when they watch your videos and when they're in the society that is surrounded by the same... Look at it this way. If you have 1 million subscribers, even 10 or 20,000 subscribers, and you push that same negative racist bullshit about black people being, you know, ignorant thugs and shit and gangster, and they always say nigga and bruh and all the stereotypical black phrases and shit, and then you're mad when that person grows up with that kind of perception of black people, well, you help propagate it. Even if you weren't directly responsible for the entirety of that child's lifehood, all you did was push the same mentality. So you keep, why the fuck, like, and that's what kills me. You have so many people who get mad. So many people who get mad when this shit happens, but don't realize that they were propagating the same bullshit. You were propagating the same stereotypes, the same fucking misconceptions, and then for some fucking reason, people were just kind of like, I wish the world would change. Then stop pushing the same negative stereotypes you hate. I hate when people stereotype individuals. I hate when people make fun of any individuals for being different. I hate when people mock people for things that they love to do. And they'll be talking in reference to things that affect them in their lives, like maybe their sexuality, maybe because they make videos on YouTube and shit. And yet they'll have videos on their channel that do the thing that they hate that other people do. But you're just making different. You're just, the only difference is they're making fun of groups of people that they are not themselves included in, like gamers who get that shit, anime fans who get that shit, cosplayers who get that shit. Which all those people can go eat a dick, honestly, because cosplayers, I feel like that's the grind. To hate on that is just bullshit for so many reasons. Because someone has devoted time and effort. LARPing gets that shit. If you play any card game, you get that shit. Almost everything in nerd culture is made fun of, and for certain, because gaming has become mainstream to an extent. Gaming doesn't get it all the time, but certain genres still get it. Like RPGs still get made fun of on some fucking level, which is fucking bullshit. So, my friend who sent me the request for the video, when you ask me why do people still think of people who watch anime as weirdos and nerdy and lonely and shit, it's because the idea has been perpetualized since anime has been pushed in any way, shape, or form in the States. Our first introduction introduced it to us and created the base stereotype, and then everything else after it, whichever had the biggest impact, pushed everything else. And what had the biggest impact when the internet was first introduced? Japanese animated porn. Even though we found shows like FMA, Brotherhood, or just FMA in general, Fooly Cooly, Samurai Champloo, fucking, even, I don't care for Attack on Titan, but Attack on Titan, fucking, Kimi no Dodoke, fucking Wagneria, fucking, Tiger and Bunny, fucking Blood Lad, fucking One Piece, fucking Naruto, fucking, well, and see, you had all these different types of shows. But the one that made the biggest impact is the weird Japanese shit always wins over anything else. So that's why hentai is pushed. That's why that fucking me thing was pushed. Hatsune no Miku for a while was looked at as some type of porn, particularly because the game that she originates from, you can do like 3D modeling and like do upskirts and shit and fucking, and see, look, if you like the games, there's nothing wrong with it, but let's just be perfectly honest. perversion, sex sells. No matter what industry it is, sex sells. So even in the anime industry, the sex portion of it is pushed just as much as the mainstream hardcore shit. Assassination Classroom, Tokyo Ghoul, Boku no Pico. And Boku no Pico isn't even that bad considering all the other shit you can see. But guess what? Because it's the weirdest, it was one of the first weird ass animes and incest and yaoi and all this other bullshit that was about it. Because it was one of the first animes to be discovered like that, it's the one you will always hear about, even though most anime fans today could give a fuck less about Boku no Pico and have even openly realized that Boku no Pico is not that bad considering all the other shit that is out there. Like, I think almost every anime fan has seen some shit that's worse than Boku no Pico. I think the gore and the murder in, like, some animes is worse than Boku no Pico. Because all that is like an incest yaoi hentai. Like, yeah, it's creepy. Yeah, it's kind of disturbing. But, like, what the fuck ever. Like, if you've been on the internet long enough, none of this shit is new. And you're just desensitized of it all. But I'm done talking about it. But that's the problem. If people want to know what's the problem is that people are full of shit and they're liars. They keep fucking saying how they don't want this to keep happening. They don't want this shit to be pushed. They don't want people to start making fun of each other and stereotyping. And yet, they still perpetuate the same ideas. But because they're entertainers, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck, or they're just ignorant. Which, most people would say it's the second one. I would argue it's also the first one, too. But I'm not saying the second one couldn't be the issue, too. But that's the reasoning. So, yeah. It's kind of a sad truth, but that's how I go. Anyways, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. This has been the Insane Game Freak. Life's a game. Play to win. And I'm going to go fucking play with my amiibo figures and admire my Robin Dressrosa figure art 0. And then wait in the mail for my Lucina figure art 0. And not give a flying fuck, because at the end of the day, I can't change society's perception of me when everybody else is fucking saying the opposite. I can sit here with my figures and sit here with a wife and some kids and be a perfectly functioning adult, and guess the fuck what? PewDiePie might still be making the same fucking video saying, "Notice me, senpai." Yeah. So, fuck it. Fuck them. Fuck them.